Bob Schieffer sat down with the New York Times bestselling author of children's books and co-founder of the Tribeca Film Festival, Craig Hatkoff, who's written an inspiring book with a surprising hero. Take a look.
Craig Hatkoff is the author of a children's book, Winter's Tale, How One Little Dolphin Learned to Swim. He's with us, and Craig, this is quite a book, and it is quite a tale, I must say. Here's a little a toy dolphin that we have, and the little dolphin's name is Winter. Is that right?
That's correct.
And as you see, he has no tail. Well, this is a true story. I'm going to let you tell it. What happened to the dolphin?
Well, Winter, who's actually a female, about 4 years ago got tangled up in a crab trap off the Florida coast near Cape Canaveral and was rescued. And unfortunately, she was so tangled up that her tail was permanently damaged, and she ended up actually losing her tail. But it was a very dramatic rescue, and she was brought from the Cape Canaveral side of Florida over to Clearwater at the Clearwater Marine Aquarium.
And so obviously a dolphin without a tail can't swim.
Well, that's the interesting part of the story, and there's really three parts. One, that was not clear that she would survive, so that was the first part of the drama. Secondly, she taught herself, along with the trainers, to swim without a tail. And normally a dolphin swims with an up and down motion, and since she did not have the tail, she taught herself to swim with a side-to-side motion. So in the short run, that was great progress, and she beat the odds. The real challenge, though, swimming side to side, she lost what's called her peduncle, which is a large word for a piece of the anatomy. They actually taught her to swim using a prosthetic tail that was developed by a group of engineers who just had a love of dolphins. And so they came up, and I have with me, this is not her current tail, and this is probably 1 or 2 generations ago. Winter will probably end up with close to 30 tails as they keep improving the technology.
Because the fin gets bigger.
The fin gets bigger. They come up with new designs, and this is actually the breakthrough, sort of the medical engineering breakthrough. They developed something called the Winter Gel, which is now being used by the military for amputees who are having difficulty.
I see.
So this is
it's almost like a sock.
It's like a sock.
In fact, on her stump.
That's correct.
Tail would go.
And you can see how resilient it is.
And it's very sticky.
Very sticky, and it protects the skin.
So you put this on, and then you're able to put the false tail.
Correct.
On there, and let's just get a good picture
we'll
of it.
Hold this up. I'll let you hold it.
Yeah. And here it is. And she started out with a tail much smaller than this.
I happen to have one just right here. So here's the first tail.
There you go.
And you can see how much she's grown.
And now it's this big, and it will go.
It'll get even bigger, yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about the book and how you wrote it. I'm told that this is not your first children's book, but you did this one with your daughter.
Actually, I did it with both daughters. I have now, in various combinations, written 5 children's books about remarkable, true stories, remarkable animals overcoming trauma and tragedy and beating the odds. And so they're very resilient and uplifting stories coming out of tragedy.
How old are your kids?
One just turned 11 last week. That's Isabella. And the other is Juliana, who is 14.
And how, when you say you wrote it with them, how did that work?
Well, these are actually, since these are nonfiction, they're true stories, it's really more told by, as the girls like to say. And so we find the stories that really mean something to us, and that sort of gives us what we call goosebumps. So one of our first books was actually one called Owen and Mazet, which became a very, very popular book about a baby hippo orphaned during the tsunami who was raised by a giant tortoise, 130-year-old tortoise off the coast of Kenya. I think the hallmark of our books is, while they're true stories, they almost come across as fairy tales or almost mythological, but they're true. And we also like to extend the experience so kids can really get involved. So each one of the books comes along with a website. We have lots of great footage, lots of photographs, but it's really an access point and an entry point for parents and teachers and kids to talk about very difficult subjects. So obviously,
what's it like to work with your daughters?
It takes on a life of its own. As I say, I'm sort of the scribe. They're in charge, but we have great fun with all of these books, and we've had the opportunity to travel around the world. We've been to Berlin. We did another book on the baby polar bear Canute at the Berlin Zoo. Owen and Mizet, our book about the hippo and tortoise in Kenya. I just went down to Clearwater to meet Winter, and she is just, it's almost remarkable to see the power that animals can have over not only kids but also adults alike.
Well, it's a beautiful book, I would say that, and I'm sure this must be so much fun to do things like this with your children.
We're having a ball with it, and we hope it helps other kids and parents and teachers, and just got a couple more coming out relatively soon.
Craig Hatkoff, great to have you. The name of the book is Winter's Tale, How One Little Dolphin Learned to Swim.
Thank you, Bob.